Brett's here. And we're gonna kill him.
So, Grandma, what'd you think of the movie?
It was extremely gripping and emotional. They must have all been Irish actors, or they're very good with the Irish dialect, because it took me a while to get used to how they spoke so that I could understand what they were saying. I mean, they were speaking English, of course, but
And even then, you couldn't really understand.
well, their own flavor of English, you know, and it's it was more, for me, action driven than dialogue driven, because I couldn't tell at first who the good guys and the bad guys, and I finally just decided there really weren't any good guys or bad guys. They were just people caught up in this impossible situation. No matter what you did, if you were a good guy, somehow it would be construed as being a collaborator, or, you know, being on the other side or something.
One side's good guy is another side's bad guy.
Correct.
Is the point, because again,
it was so hard for the people caught in the middle, and in the streets of Belfast in '71, if that was the year. I thought they did a really good job, the movie makers did, of showing how impossible the situation was, and how your own family could be torn apart by what are we going to do. I had to smile at the one little boy that was at first helped our soldier. He asked the soldier, "Are you Catholic or Protestant?" And the soldier said he didn't know. And he's, "What?"
hard to believe.
That's impossible for the kid to understand. That's impossible. You had to take sides, you know, in this interfraternal or whatever it was conflict that they were having.
Well, your point about the difference, the two sides and everything, is a big part of it. I mean, it was hard to keep track of who was who and who was, you know, on one side or the other.
Well, even the young woman and her father, who was the medic in the army for 20 years, he said, I mean, he just happened to land in the right apartment where they could help him, and she was against it. Now, normally the female would be wanting to help, but she was so afraid of them being seen as collaborators, so she was tuned in to what was going on in her neighborhood, and the dad wouldn't have any of that. You know, he was a medic. He was going to fix the young man up.
Well, again, it just goes to show you that sort of like the boy and a lot of the other characters. A lot of the characters are very tuned into sort of the lay of the land and the way things are, and what you really, the way you should be acting, the way you survive in this situation. And others, in some cases, were not. I mean, like the medic was not.
And maybe that's part of it. Part of the filmmaker's intent is to show how impossible the situation was for the ordinary person on the street, trying to go on with their lives. When, I mean, even that lady in the first brawl, she was trying to take the people off. She knew them all, from beating up the first soldier, and she.
Well, it's not like, unfortunately for her, it wasn't really like a school brawl or something like that, where she's separating kids. These are people,
and they might have been. students of hers.
Well, yeah, I mean, either then or at some point, but again, it's different now. It's life and death.
And she was pretty successful. I mean, they got up and they were getting off of it, and then this one guy comes in and shoots him. And she's just absolutely, appalled at what is going on.
Like these kids,
What in the world?
What's up with these kids?
Yeah.
They're not kids anymore.
No.
They're grown up and they're messed up. Interesting part to me was, again, this is I think back to watching the news back in the 70s and the 60s, and this whole conflict in Northern Ireland was something that was on the news all the time, and yet it's something that we really haven't seen explored in movies very much. So it's just to see this story played out was interesting.
Absolutely. I never understood truly, what the conflict was and how deep the animosities were. I think the filmmakers did a good job of illustrating that. It was a world event that was kind of incomprehensible to me when it was happening. What is the big deal here?
Well, as they pointed out with the map at the beginning, it's just this street.
These are okay, and these are the hostiles, and these are okay, and don't go through here.
This set of apartments or flats has just been taken over, and it was these people, and now it's an IRA stronghold. Don't go there. It's again, street by street, building by building, that the whole conflict was being played out on.
As far as the filmmakers' goal, I think they achieved a goal that I can identify, and that was to give us a look at what this was like.
Well, without getting, real political or anything about it. Again,
no, just showing you, okay, this is either true or could possibly have been very true.
Well.